Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and happy 2024 to everyone out there in the Church of Eileen. I hope you guys had a great 2023 and you have a better 2024. In fact, if you had kind of a bad 2023 or an absolutely awful 2023, I hope 2024 turns it around for you. New year, new you. I don't know, that I never really liked that saying, but if it works for you, I'm happy that it does. Anyway, we're going to kick 2024 off with a tier list video. Now, this is going to be very different than a tier list video that you've seen before. I've struggled with putting a full UR tier list together. I've been working on this for about a day and a half now, and I finally settled on making a video in the style you're about to see. Instead of taking all of the UR units in the game out there and then griping about if somebody's a B tier or an A tier character, but either way they're both mid, I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to look at some data. We're going to take a look at the top units in this game right now based on the highest level guilds, Guild Wars offense and defense teams. Then we're going to break that down by what types of units those are and get a look at what the meta is while doing a tier list sort of video. So I hope this is enjoyable. I think this could work. Either way, let me know. And I want to show you my Guild Wars team. So here you see I have Helena, Vivi, Roth. This is 3 units. These are 3 units. Man, y'all know I got to make an English mess up once a video. These are 3 units that you're going to see in the tier list video coming up. These are the most prominent meta units in the game right now. This team I'm running is the most popular attack team in War of the Visions, and I have the data to back that up. So you're going to see all 3 of them, and we're going to use this site right here, WoTVstats.com. If you've never been to this site, I highly recommend you go mess with it. It'll give you some useful information, like right here, how we have the month of December, so from 12/1 to 12/31, 2023, the month that just ended. From guild rank 25 to 1, we are looking at the top 20 units used in Guild Wars, both for offense up on the top here and defense down on the bottom here. So here you go. Here's your top 20 offensive units. When you make a team that you get to pick, that your guild is like not telling you to run a defense for, because that is something that happens in the top. This is the offense teams are you got to make your team because you want to go beat these top tier defenses. Here's what people chose. You can see it goes like this. Helena, Vivi, Roth, those are the top 3, and they're not the top 3 because they are individually the best units in the game. They're the top 3 because they work so dang well together. You can make vision card based teams around them. They like are on each other's VCs. They all scale off of magic. They just synergize really well. So I would say it wouldn't be correct to put all of them in like an S or an S plus tier, but they would all be near the top of the tier list, and that's why I'm going to do this one this way. So there's the breakdown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to on the screen have this show up. It looks like a tier list, right? But we're not doing a true tier list. What we're doing instead is we're going to look at what type of unit is the best in the game right now. So I'm going to start with my picks. Now, Squall was my most used unit in December. He is not going to appear on those graphs. He's not a top 20 unit in the game right now, according to the top guilds. But you know what I did a lot of? Winning. And you know who carried my teams? Squall and Elia a little bit. Elia did some carrying as well. But Squall, I made him work all month long despite him not being in that top 20. And I'm always going to have, if this is a video series that I do month by month, I'm always going to have a my pick section where I tell you my favorite unit from the month before. Squall was my favorite unit in the game from the month before, and I just want to like super emphasize the fact that if you have somebody you like, you can make them work. Build smart teams. It might not be the most min-max best thing in the game, but are you in the top 1 or 2 guilds in the game? Probably not if you're like watching my tier list video. Or if you are, hey, if you are, don't go away. Don't go away. You can make fun of me at the end of this if you're there, because I'm only in like rank 12. But there you go. Squall's my pick. You can play whoever you want. Squall was my guy. Now, let's start breaking this down by type of unit. You see right here, Helena and Vivi. Now, Helena and Vivi are both mages, so the mage list starts to fill out a little bit. Mage teams are a thing in the game right now. These were the most 2 units. You can see over here, Helena, Vivi, most 2 used units in the last month of the game in offense. And if we scroll down, they were also the most 2 used units in defense. In fact, if we're breaking this down a little bit, I'll scroll down a little more, and you see here on this defensive stats, I tried to put the tier list where it's not in the way of these stats on the far right. If you look over here, this was also the most commonly used defensive wall for the top guilds in the game. It was Helena, Vivi, Roth, and that's why you see them at the top of this defense list on the bottom. And then I think a lot of people just copied their defense team because it's so good to their offense team. I know that's what I did for the last little bit of December when I wanted to get off Squall for a while, start using the Vivi that I built. This is the combo I ran, and people were running this heavily in offense and in defense in Guild Wars for the last month. So that's cool. Now let's go back to the list. The third wheel to that group was Roth. Now Roth is a tank. She's a great tank. She's one of the best 2 or 3 tanks in the game. The fact that she fits so well with Vivi and Helena is why she made the top 20 in my opinion. She would have been fringe a top 20 unit in the game if it weren't for those two kind of picking her up, but she does make the list as a tank. Now a DPS unit comes in next in Alaya the Alabaster. She was on my Guild Wars teams constantly because Squall was my guy. She was the top tier unit that was like pulling through for me. So Alaya the Alabaster made the list. She's up there as a DPS unit. Another DPS unit that creeps in is Bradley, our first Earth unit of this list. And he had a really interesting role, and we're going to revisit this later. Yes, Bradley is a phenomenal damage dealer who's really hard to kill and really, really fast. So, I mean, if you have King Bradley and you want to play him, you are still in a phenomenal spot. He's a second DPS user, and so it's not just mages that are dominating right now. There are other units in here, but Bradley and Alaya kind of represent a few months ago. If you're talking about the most used teams in the game, still, even on the offensive list, you see them as what, the 4th and 5th most used units on offense still. And guess what? They're probably going to appear over here on this list in some places, although not very commonly used on defense. If you look for Alaya and King Bradley, you don't see them on the defensive list. The defensive list does a little bit different things than the offensive list. And maybe as we evolve this video series a little bit, this is something we could talk about more. Okay, let's go back to the list. Next unit. Okay, our new winter unit. Now, Winter Roth right here is she does a lot of supporty things, but I definitely think she's more of a mage. She has the lightning element to synergize with Alaya, who's already on the list. That's great. Her ability to buff single target and AoE resist is really good. Her damage is good. She's a unit that I'm building up right now to start working in with my Squall and Lightning Astrius, who releases tomorrow at the time of me filming this video. So I'm happy to see her getting some love. I'm happy to see her creeping into the list. She makes it. And then we get another mage, Addison Ray. You want to talk about a free unit with staying power? Yes, she's in a great spot in the game right now because not only is she a mage, she's a light element mage, so she combos really well with Helena because they both do magic. They're both light element. I mean, that's a wonderful combo, but Addison Ray still packs a massive punch. She makes the top 20 list, and you can see the mage area is getting kind of busy. Now, here's a fun one, a DPS unit who recently got a good mix of Master Ability 2 and Transcendence upgrades. Flagbearer Glassy continues to hold it down in War of the Visions. She needed some love. She recently got that love. So another physical DPS unit that makes it, and Wind is represented on the list now. Another unit that continues to show up is Winged Stern. I think he got a big boost this week because Helena was, Helena, right? Helena and Helena. So if, let's say you're somebody who has Helena, but maybe doesn't have the Vivi and the Roth to go with her, because Vivi and Roth, harder to acquire units, limited units, or at least in Roth's case, kind of limited units, 100 cost, hard to pull, hard to build. But maybe you had Winged Stern from a select ticket or something like that. He has proven to be a good combo with Helena in a mono light team if you want to do that. And so I believe she's carrying him up this list a little bit, but he does make it as a DPS unit that is in the top 20 right now. Okay, our first support unit that shows up is Shalze. Great unit, 70 cost unit. I infamously called her free on the last PvP tournament live stream because I mean she had the 18k step up, which feels free in this game sometimes. Still, there's a support unit that we had access to not that long ago. She's not limited. If you have her and build her, my goodness, she does some great things for you. And she's the first support to get onto this list, but she's quickly followed by Renoa. Now, Renoa is good. She has that double hasting ability. She has her heals. I think she is currently being carried a little bit by Bradley and some of the other units in the top 20, but she's definitely worthy of being played. If I was making a list of the top 20 units in War of the Visions, I don't know that she would be on that list, but she's close. She's right there. And because she has good synergy with other units on this list, boom, there she is. She's on there. Okay, Sottily, another mage, shows up. He has a couple benefits here. One, he's a mage, but he's a mace user. He's not a staff user, so he's not on the same kind of cards that those other mages are on. Still, with Glassy getting her buff, with Earth still being kind of prevalent, you can run Glassy Sottily right now and hope to find some Earth teams to beat up on. Just make sure, especially with Sottily, that he's got some accuracy built into him. He struggles hitting evade. He doesn't have like Glassy with those, boosted attack rate moves. And I know evade is empty right now on this list because this is the top 20 units from Guild Wars offense, but evade won't be empty forever. Okay, another tank, Dialdo, shows up. I think Dialdo and Roth are like right there in terms of how good of tanks they are. Dialdo, again, you can see where he's at. He's got Bradley, he's got himself. He's going to work in with Earth teams. He's going to work in with Vision card based teams. Dialdo is one of the best tanks in the game. He definitely makes this list. And so far, if you look, the only category that doesn't have anything in it right now is evade, which is not surprising, and it might have felt for a long time like evade died off, but evade did not die. Evade is not dead, and we'll get there in a moment. Okay, next, Summer Glassy, another tank, shows up. The days of water are not quite over, and in fact, with the new King Eldy coming out, I'm curious to see if water next month doesn't creep up this list a little more with young King Elda creeping into the game. Let's see if he's strong enough to have an impact in these top 20 Guild Wars situations. So, but Glassy does hang out there, and you can see if you look over here on the right, she is towards the bottom of this list right here, but you see like Ferris hanging out there with her. There is still some water that you can play. Okay, here's one that's going to be around forever, Sephiroth. Another DPS unit comes on. This guy's been in the game for a while now, and he's just still that good. Yes, it does help him that units like Vivi and Roth are strong. Dark is still a strong element in general, but Sephiroth, he can remove courage. He removes ways for you not to die. He's very hard to kill, and he does a lot of damage. That's a great combo to have. You can build around Sephiroth still. In fact, anybody on this list, if you have a unit that you like that pairs well with them, you can build around Sephiroth. Y'all know what he does. He just continues to hang out, and it's nice to see somebody have as long of a life as him for as popular of a unit as he was, which I do think contributes to him continuing to make this list. I think so many people pulled him, so many people have been building around him that he's maybe carried by that a little bit, but don't sleep on Sephiroth. Okay, next up, Sol. So Sol, another mage, giving mages the lead again in the tier list video here. Sol and Shalze are such a good combo together. It kind of brings fire into the game a little bit if you want to play mono fire. There are, the other ways to play mono fire like evade, but you're going to see that more in a defense team than you will an offense team, but Sol continues to be a really strong mage in the game, so he jumps into the top 20 mage group right there. Another tank comes in, Alphonse Elric. Now, Alphonse is here, I think mostly, okay, look, he's a strike damage unit. Strike damage was insanely OP when he came out. It's a little less OP now, but lightning element still has good units in it. On this list, you see right here, we got Alaya, Squall, still on here for me, and I'm telling you, if you pulled and built Squall, which I know not a ton of us did, he's a banger. Here's a lightning element tank that I think is better than Charlotte, and so if you're playing tank, you're playing lightning element, there's your guy. Or if you're playing strike, you can still work him into that team as well. He'll make the list. And then we get our first evade unit, in fact our only evade unit on the offensive side of this chart over here, and it's going to be Halloween Lucio. If you were watching the official PvP tournaments, there was not a more surprising, seemingly broken unit in those than Halloween Lucio. This dude drug Earth Evade into the meta so hard. In fact, you paired him with Bradley, and Bradley ended up being this like quasi-evade unit, and then Lucio was a little more evadey, but they both do a ton of damage. And Earth's vision cards are set up in such a way where you get like human killer and evade in one card, and so you could really build Earth into that weird sweet spot of, hey, units don't know if they should use guaranteed hit on me or if they should just try and swing at me with a more damaging move. There's a sweet spot to evade where it kind of tricks the AI to taking coin flips, and if you can win those coin flips, there you go, you can do a lot of work. So Halloween Lucio, I'm so happy to see him on here because I felt like, again, he was a unit that not a lot of people were excited for, but he's performing really well. And then here's another freebie right here in the DPS category in Bartz. Now, Bartz is on here, I think, mostly because of his follow-up attack. Don't sleep on his other damage, but it's really cool to have a unit in the game that could do follow-up attacks, and he does a great one. So there's Bartz making lists as a DPS unit, and there's your list of the top 20 units used in offensive Guild Wars at the time. If we were looking at this, you could see tanks are definitely not dead. 4 tanks were among the top 20 units used last month in Guild Wars offense. Mages and DPS units, a nice split. I think had I been asked before, I would have probably said there was more mages played, and I would have been correct in the amount of mage teams compared to other teams, because if we look at this list, I mean, look over here. The top 2 units in this game by a long shot are the mages, right? With Helena and Vivi really crushing it at the top. Then everybody, and then Roth, the third wheel to that duo, then everybody else kind of just clumps down there towards the bottom. So definitely mages are the most popular, but there are still plenty of DPS options available. Then let's scroll down a little bit right here and just quickly look at the defense units used and see how that compared to the offense units used. So we have the offensive tier list, still in the middle of your screen. Here's your defensive units used. You see the top 3 are the same. Addison Rae stays in there, same with Wingstern, for their synergy with New Helena. Like, she's that good. She's just kind of pulling units up. Bart's same deal, light element still being pulled up there with Helena. It looks to me like this is how guilds are calling defense walls right now in the top 25, is they're saying, hey, build around Helena. If you could build a mage team with Vivi Roth or Vivi something, do it. If not, build a mono light team with your Wing of Destiny, Stern, Bartz, things like that. So there's kind of your defense breakdown. Sephiroth, still real popular. Flagbearer, Glassy, Sottily are still there. Then it gets different. Starlight Elena shows up, showing you that evade is still something to be reckoned with. Starlight Elena has been meta in this game for how freaking long, and anybody who says like she's dead or she's gone, this is Guild Wars defenses for top 25 guilds in War of the Visions, and she's right there at like 10th. That's crazy good. That girl has had some staying power. Then you see Shalze, Roth, Winter again, Soul, Dark Fina comes in. Again, I think people building those mage teams for defense, this is somebody they were pivoting to. Dark Fina, Elia the Alabaster, Ayaka is on this list. Ayaka makes a list. That's crazy. Then you see Summer, Jaden, another wind unit on there with the range, Yuffie for evade, and Summer Glassy on there as well, ending it. So there you go. And then real quick, if you wanted to look at the top 500 guilds in the game and see what the most popular units are there, here's your top 10 most played units on offense and defense in the top 500 guilds. So really going up that, up in those numbers a little bit. And here you could just see the raw popularity of Sephiroth. He's definitely coming down a little bit in played, but he's pulled and built by so many people that he will be carried up a popularity unit list just because of that. But then there's Helena, Roth, and Vivi right on his tail chasing him up there. Same story for defense, right? With Starlight Elena continuing to make her appearance as evade seems a little bit more something you need to deal with than it does in offense. So there you go, guys. I hope this video was useful. I hope it was good. I hope you enjoyed this format. I'm probably not going to call it a tier list so much as like a meta breakdown, but let's play with those words. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas on how to make it more enjoyable, I feel like some of the stuff was kind of small. Maybe I'll try to do some zooming, things like that. Okay, thank y'all. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.